Let's speak to a man who's hoping that that change will come and come quickly. Darren Jones, MP, Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury. Darren, good afternoon to you. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Normally I watch a budget. After about 10 minutes, I have a compelling urge to start gnawing my own elbows. Today was no real exception, but I thought I'll give Mr Hunt the benefit of the doubt. So I looked into some of the detail, helping struggling families, lifting that VAT threshold for small businesses like Lou, we just heard there in Bury, freezing alcohol duty, freezing the fuel duty on petrol, the national insurance thing, that was pretty big, and nicking your non-dom status policy. They've only gone and done it, haven't they, Darren? That's it. End of. You might as well give up now.
Well, good afternoon, but no, not quite. I mean, as always with Conservative budgets, you've got to check the maths. And if you look at the forecast from the Office of Budget Responsibility, it's very clear that the tax burden on working people is still going up, not just now, but for each year of the forecast period, which is the next 5 years. And one of the reasons for that is that the government have purposely moved the burden from national insurance to council tax. So they've been cutting national insurance today, which we support and welcome, but they've said that councils can raise a council tax by up to 5% each year for every year for the next 5 years. And you total all of that up, the tax burden is going up, not down, and the average family is still going to be about £800 worse off a year on average as a consequence of the Tory budget today, which is their offer to the country for the next 5 years.
So that's they should have,
perhaps unsurprisingly.
Okay, sorry to interject, Darren. They should have gone further with cutting those taxes.
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is that after 14 years of failure from the Conservatives, this one budget alone wouldn't have been able to get anywhere near repairing the damage that has been done, whether it's on the tax burden or people's mortgages and rent or the bills they pay or the pay they get at work or indeed our public services. And really the Conservatives should have acknowledged that, I think. They kind of pitched the budget today by saying that everything was great and that things are going to be better. But people know that things are not great and they know they're not going to be better off under the Conservatives. And the sooner we can test that with the electorate at general election, the better.
And it may well be that if you guys are successful, the polls suggest you will be, yourself and Rachel Reeves will be there with your impressive abacus of creative joy, trying to balance the figures and do whatever you need to do. How would you have made this budget more tangibly generous so that people can feel that sense of it's getting better? What would a Labour government, a Labour Chancellor, a Labour a Labour Chief Secretary be doing right now to make people better off?
Well, there are some short-term things and some long-term things. On the short-term things, the Tories nicked one of our policies today on non-dom tax loopholes. They're welcome to it. They should have adopted it years ago when we first announced it, because that raises billions of pounds a year to fund, well, we would use it to fund dealing with the backlog in the National Health Service, opening up more emergency dental appointments and funding breakfast schools across the country. And only until yesterday, the Conservatives were saying that plan was not effective, and now they've adopted it and they're spending the money from it. This is a humiliating U-turn for the Conservatives. But we've got other plans they're welcome to they could have adopted today if they wanted to. Private schools, VAT, carried interest for private equity bosses here in the city. There's money there that you can raise to give an immediate injection of cash to public services, which we know is important. But for any of this to be sustainable, you've got to get growth back into the economy and get the economy back on track. This is the 22nd fiscal event from the Conservatives since 2010. Every single time they've promised growth in the economy. And where are we right now? In the middle of Rishi's recession. So it's clear that you can't trust the Conservatives with the economy. You can trust the Labour Party with the economy, and getting growth back into the economy is going to be at the heart of our proposals as we go into this election year.
I think you're being slightly unfair. The economy grew by 0.1%. I mean, that's massive in recent expectations. Just a point, though, on the non-dom thing. On the non-dom issue, if they've nabbed that policy, where do you now find the money that would have been hypothecated for use elsewhere? What do you do then? There's billions now that you're short of.
Yep, it's my job to find it, working with Rachel Reeves. We're still committed to our policies on health and education because we know our schools and hospitals are in desperate need of the investment that we had outlined. But it's perfectly normal after a government budget when they change the parameters of their spending for opposition parties to look at the maths and figure out how they would do things differently. We're now going to go away and do that, and we will set out the detail in due course. But the thing I can guarantee you, not least because it's my job to make sure it's the case, is that all of our policies will be fully funded and fully costed, both now and in our manifesto going into this election year.
But of course, we are still in very wobbly times, internationally, if nothing else. If you look around the world, there are countries that are performing worse than this one. I'm not making excuses for anybody here. And there are lots of other relevant factors. We know there's still the COVID hangover. We know that Ukraine is a factor. We know that what is happening in the Middle East will also feed in to all of this. And of course, people have still got the wobbles. There's not a lot of stability. There's a lack of confidence in the money markets and within businesses as well. You guys are going to inherit all of this, and I don't imagine it's just going to disappear overnight, even if a change of government does somehow give a sense of a new broom and a clean sweep and all the rest of it. Can you guarantee, Darren, that there won't be a recession within 6 months of Rachel Reeves taking charge of the economy?
Well, let's see what we inherit from the Conservatives. We're technically in a recession
well, you
right
kind of
now,
know what
so
you're going to get already,
tomorrow,
don't you? It's not going to change very much. So you know what you're going to get. Can you guarantee to continue to grow the economy and we won't go into another recession?
Well, we're very confident about our plans for growth in the economy, that's for sure. But you're right to highlight that the inheritance that we would have if we win the election this year from the Conservatives will be the worst economic inheritance any party has had since the Second World War. And so that means things are going to be hard, there'll be difficult decisions, and it will take time to turn things around. But you can be clear, based on their record, that after 14 years of the Conservatives in government, they do not have the ideas, the energy, or the know-how for turning things around. In fact, they've made things worse. We're going to get under the bonnet, fix it, and get the economy back on track.
So guaranteed growth over the next 12 months? No recession? Guaranteed?
It's our number one mission to get growth into the economy, and we're very confident about our growth plans.
Darren Jones, thank you. And also the voice of doom in the background. We know who he is. He is the Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury with us here on talkTV.